Forgive me, Smokey, I'm going to wake you up, sorry. Right, let's get a different camera angle. Right, who was up for a sparring session? Revs are up and we are away. Oh! And away we go at Spa, Division 4, going into turn 1. It's JPP Game and he's going to take the lead. The Ferrari behind goes a bit wide. He's lost the place to Maxwell. Maxwell on those softs is going to take the lead. The Ferrari's going to back out, going up Weardale for the first time. Here we go. Oh, we can see any plane crashes up Weardale for the first 2 corners. We've still got Dave in 4th. Baggy's in 5th. I think there is for the crash.
Baggy.
Oh, it was between Dave and Baggy Fan. We did see our aeroplane crash and wasn't on board for it though. Maxwell is 2 tenths behind JPB Gaming. He needs to get that place on the Red Bull driver in order to work this strategy. But yeah. We've had our first crash already, but guy, you're right, Corey. You right to take over now?
Don't do that again.
I'm only doing it upon request.
Oh no, that was brilliant. I was in tears.
Some of the guys here are listening to this as well, so.
That was unbelievable. Pazuzu's already. Oh, Pazuzu's round 2 on. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, Hickman. He slammed it to the side of him. That's incredible.
Oh, I missed it.
And we've got a safety car. We've got a virtual safety car already. I thought Ghosty was turned on in all divisions now.
Oh no.
No, for next weekend.
Oh God. You could have told me that now. Oh, but we've got a virtual safety car here at Spa. Hicklin, he has smashed in. Richie Chappell's going to drive through. Oh,
Cool,
no.
you said now wrong.
Oh no.
But Pazuzu Championship leader is round, and without a front wing, that might be his charge over. And who's that? That's a Williams that's just gone off the road. Frisky Saturn is all over the place. I think he's struggling to keep those hard tyres up the temperature, and the virtual safety car should be ending shortly. Maxwell, he's into the pit lane to get off those soft compound tyres on lap 1. Virtual safety car, good one, should be ending very, very shortly. But JPP Gaming, I can't English, has nearly pulled a 1 second gap to Smith HP Dan already. And virtual safety car, I want to do the now when it's ending, but it's not coming at the right point.
Well, that's my prediction out the window.
Yeah, that's already gone. As virtual safety car is now in, as Maxwell has just left the pit lane. He's in the top of his knees, just hit the pit lane exit. Oh, me and Matt know that will very well. Lynn does as well after practice. But we're back underway then. On lap 2 of this race, Richie Chappell, he has got a drive-through penalty to serve for speeding under the virtual safety car, as the gaps are already starting to open up on lap 2.
They sure are, and I'm trying not to get excited. Oh, commentator's curse was going to kick in. Steve-O's in 3rd, but he lost the rear going round, well, the right turning after the quick chicane, and those hard tyres look really cold. I don't think Steve-O's done a lot of warming up the tyres during this, the virtual safety car phase. Richie Chappell's going to get him with ease in a few corners time. He's lost 2 seconds in 2 corners. So yeah, we're already seeing the grid quite separated already. Maxwell pitting under the virtual safety car, only finding himself down in 7th. So is Maxwell going for a smart strategy that maybe no one has actually clicked onto yet?
It definitely could be. I'm not sure how far those hards can go. I think they'll probably go maybe around 15, 17 laps tops. But again, I don't think the chaos is over, as Richie Chappell was nearly descended it in the barriers. It starts off and it's now made this a 3-way battle. What with P3, but Richie Chappell, I presume, will come in within the next 2 laps to serve that drive-through penalty. As Smith Danny starting to close up on JPP Gaming. That's for the leader of the Grand Prix at the moment. We'll see if Richie Chappell comes in, serve his drive-through penalty. Yes, he does. The Mercedes pulls off into the pit lane, and he's going to need a mega drive if he wants to maybe fight for the podium today. As DRS is now enabled, it's getting very, very dark now around Spa. And I think we are going to see some rain later on in this race. We're going to go back to the battle for the lead though, because it is now nearly within half a second as Smith Dan's gone very, very wide there. I thought he was only looking at the barriers. But I think now he might be a little bit too far back to maybe think about going for a move for the lead.
Yeah, that was certainly a heart in the mouth moment there for the Ferrari driver. Again, these early laps here with the fuel load very high. The track temperatures are cool, especially only a few half a lap or a lap after a virtual safety car. Those tyres are going to feel like it's almost driving in the rain. Well, maybe exaggerating it, but nevertheless, half a second is the gap between JPB Gaming and Smith HP Dan. Based from qualifying, we did kind of think this might be what we'd be potentially seeing for the race, and certainly after 3 laps, it is the case indeed. Hopefully, we see it all for the rest of the race. It is our closest battle on. No, it's not. We've got a battle for 3rd place, Steve-O, just ahead of the Red Bull of Star Wars.
Indeed, Star Wars is closing up. As you said for Steve, obviously the tyre advantage for the Red Bull driver may give him the bit of advantage he might need. Maybe heading towards Blanchimon, that's one, I couldn't think of the name. Choosing little set to split and heading towards the final sector now. Can he close the gap enough on Steve-O to maybe think about going for a move? We've definitely got the better exit, Steve-O, and maybe going towards the bus stop. That Honda power might be able to get him that 3rd place. No, he looks like he's backed off. He's gone very wide off the track as a Red Bull driver, and he's going to hold on to that P4 behind Steve-O. Sorry, let's get that one in there.
Nah, that's fine. Just, I mean, I don't know if you're on board with Star Wars at the time, but there's the evidence alone that the tyres, there's no grip on track and there's no grip on the mediums at the moment. They haven't set in yet. The fact that he had to lift off going around that corner where normally it's a full throttle track, and Steve-O just ahead, also losing the rear. God, there must be really chilly conditions out there.
Indeed, I second everyone's throttle inputs near enough through the chicane that's coming up now from the 2 leaders, and they've been very, very tentative on the throttle just to not let the back end slip. And Stars Orphan, this might be a move for P3 here. He's using his battery, he's using the DRS. He's going to pull to the inside of the Haas driver, and Stars Orphan is now into the podium position. No, Steve-O fights it back. He's got a bit around the outside. So that's a lovely re-overtake from Steve-O there to get that place back on the hards.
Yeah, lovely bit of stuff from Steve. That's what we love to see, as we're seeing the lap times come down now, mainly from the drivers who have been forced to pit because of damage or just on their second part of their strategy. But still, it's great seeing. We've got some 2 battles up for the big points. Steve-O's still in 3rd place. Love to see it. We're all allowed to be excited. And, the rear's just stepping out on that Haas car.
Playing with thin ice is, driving on thin ice, should I say, Steve-O at the moment in P3 on those hards. As you said, maybe still struggling to get up to temperature with the cold conditions out on track. We've got a battle for P5 going on between the Haas and the Williams of Husky Saturn, and Maxwell looks to have made his way past the Williams and up into 6th place already. As soon as that, Steve-O's come round! No!
Oh, no.
And he's got damage to his front wing as well. Is he stuck? Has he beached it? I don't think he has. Hopefully he hasn't. Come on, Steve-O, get it back round. Yes, he has. He's got it back round, but he's going to need to come into the pit lane for a new front wing. That's so unfortunate for Steve-O, running in the podium position for so long. But anyway, back to the lead, and I think we might have a change for a lead going into the Lake Palm chicane and down the Camel Straight with DRS. They will be shortly. 5th HP Dan using the remainder of his battery he's got as well, all stored up. Top 2 haven't really used much, to be fair. DRS is going to assist him to take the lead of this Belgian Grand Prix. And especially Dan showing his great pace already on lap 5 of 22 here.
Yeah, I think that's a bit calculated there. I think JPP knew what he was doing. He's not used any ERS at all, I don't think, for a while. So these guys, I mean, to be fair, Smith hasn't really used much ERS either. So these guys are actually cruising. They're thinking of the long game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them swapping positions lap by lap now, unless Smith is going to drop the sandbags. And he's got a much better exit going out of that no-name turn as we're going round the long turn 8 light corner we have in Turkey, which we haven't been racing at for an age. Maxwell showing good pace. He's kept it around 20 seconds despite being on the harder tyres. I can't help but mention that he is going to have to pit again at some point. He's going to try and stretch out those hard tyres for as long as possible, whether unless there's been another safety car.
Oh, around the outside at Puon. Lovely move from Richie Chappell there on his Husky Saturn. That's for P5. And lovely move on the entry of Puon. Great move. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just saying that Maxwell's probably thinking he's going to try and hope for a nice time virtual safety car, or whether there is rain in the distance. Because those hard tyres, you can do a lot of laps on them, but trying to do 20 laps on hard tyres, I can't see it. I really can't see it happening, if I'm honest.
As Swift HP Dan, as you've just seen on the top of your screen, has set the fastest lap of this race, 1:48.9. That was nearly 1.6 seconds quicker than JPP Gaming. I think it's proved it because he's already pulled out of DRS range of the Red Bull behind, and Swift HP Dan is now looking to do what he did in France and I believe Hungary as well, and just drive away into the sunset.
Yeah, it certainly looks like Smith has pulled the pin. JPP has used a bit more urge on the start of this lap to try and get within the DRS, because that can certainly save you or gain you about 4 attempts. Even if his game plan is just to stay behind, he wants to stay within DRS, maybe even do a bit of urge saving whilst in the DRS zone, as Steve-O's into the pits to make his first stop. I believe that's probably also to change his front wing, because he had damage earlier, if I'm correct.
Indeed it is. He decided to stay out an extra lap, but clearly damage is too bad.
Here's one for you. So whether it's true or not, but we're allowed to get excited anyway. SLR1 is just put in the Twitch chat that there is rain due at the end of the race.
Ooh. It's going to make it interesting then with strategy. So are we going to maybe see some of the hard runners trying, or maybe even the medium runners as well, try to extend this stint as long as they can to maybe try and stretch it to the intermediates if it is going to rain enough, because when it rains, it definitely does pour here at Spa.
Oh god, yeah, definitely. Especially if it's anything like we saw in Hungary at the queuing last week. I mean, the fastest lap was set with 3 laps to go, and then a lap and a half later, it was dry tyres on a soaking wet track. It's just amazing how Mother Nature works at times. But it certainly explains why Maxwell, after lap 1 under the virtual safety car, got off those softs onto the hard tyres. So maybe it is very smart thinking from Maxwell. He's always been the type of driver in this division where he might not be the quickest, but because of the strategy, and he just knows how to get the best strategy, he always makes up the places and just gets the W's when you least expect it.
I think one highlight of that, I think it was Spain last season, where he came through to win the race purely on strategy. A great strategy call it was, I think it was, if I remember rightly. So maybe this might be a good strategy call again from Maxwell, as you said. At the moment, 20 seconds off the lead, but if these medium tyres won't extend, then, as you said, Maxwell might be in a really good position here to maybe extend this all the way to the intermediate period, if he can just close the gap maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm keeping an eye on his time to the guys at the front, and I mean, he is losing a tiny bit of time, but not a massive amount, so it's about now that those hard tyres really will be at the peak of their game in terms of lap time, and of course the times will be getting quicker as the fuel load gets down. Smith has just pulled about half a second on JPP Gaming in the past sector or two. Whether that was a mistake or not from the Red Bull driver, I'm not too sure, but these guys effectively are still cruising, race of their own. It's like watching Hamilton and Verstappen from last season in real life.
Hopefully it doesn't end in the same way that it did half the time with Hamilton and Verstappen, but we will see. At the moment, though, Smith should be down with a 1.8 second advantage out in front. Steve-O picks up the first penalty of the race for track limits at Rouge. And at the moment, he's 10 seconds off the rest of the pack. But I think all he needs to know, he just needs to keep going, and that's 1 point scored in your championship. And at the end of the day, that can make or break maybe one position in the championship.
Yeah, every point matters. Every point matters. You only have to ask. I'm trying to think of something now. I've probably done myself in a. I don't know. Yeah, but every point matters. Let's just go with that.
I think McEwen season 7, well, it went down just like real life. Went down to the final race, level on points. 1 point on that day could have sealed the deal. Well, at the end, it did in the end of the day. But again, it could definitely happen again. But as we said, Smith actually down. It's now 2.5 seconds out in front, so he is really getting the foot down a bit and just clearing off out in front to JPP Gaming. It's just like he did in France. As soon as Smith actually down is locked in, you know about it, and he is gone. Lap 8 of 22 out of this race, and I do wonder when we're going to start seeing the rain. It starts to clear up a little bit in the sky, but we're going to see it get darker maybe in about 10-15 minutes or so.
Let's
who we got? 6 at the moment.
Let's quickly go back to pit wall again. Let's see what Mr. Liam Riddler has got to say about what you've seen so far. Liam, what do you reckon?
Well, I'm about to see a move for 6th place here. Pazuzu on the Williams. He gets it stopped and he's passed.
Wow, it's inspirational. Oh. I thought you hit the wall then. I thought you got damage. Come on, Liam, you got to speak more. Come on.
I'm meant to be as a camera crew, mate.
I know, but has anything tickled your pickle this race so far?
It's kind of settled into quite a lot of gaps in the field, but there's been a few overtakes that have been Good to watch. We might use that yellow flag for Steve-O. We might get another move here from Maxwell on Star Orphan.
He can get into the DRS range. I think he's just out of DRS range at the moment, Star Orphan, but Maxwell seen the gap closing in the past couple of laps. He's looked the quicker driver so far, as Matt said earlier. Those hard tyres starting to bed in a little bit now and become a bit quicker. And going down on this straight, excuse me, if he can get into the DRS range here, he might be in fighting range in the next lap or two.
No doubt whatsoever. And Maxwell he didn't feel comfortable steering. I think he was a bit offline going into that and didn't have the confidence in the tyres and the car to make a bit of sharp steering, so he played it safe. Yeah, he's probably got a warning for it, but at least hasn't binned it into a wall up Weardale. And he has got the gap to start off from now to within a second. As you guys mentioned earlier, we probably will see a move in the next lap or so.
Indeed we will. And, at the moment, at the top of the Drivers' Championship, it is going to close up to... So, 17 points closed it's going to be if it ends like this, with Kazuzi down in P6 and Smith HB Dan out in front at the moment. And that'll be down to 73 points if my maths is correct, from 90.
Wow, I don't know. I couldn't even count up to F, mate, so...
Oh, bless you. But heading towards Blanchimont, we will be soon. And Maxwell might be eyeing up a move here. Hopefully it doesn't end the way Dodgy and Owen did the other night. But the gap is a little bit bigger. JPP Gaming, he has came into the pit lane. Oh, and what's happened there? Star Orphan's gone off, and he completely backed out of the corner. He nearly lost it, rejoining. And that is Maxwell now up into P3. As JPP Gaming comes in for the hard compound tyres. Is Maxwell going to get out ahead?
Oh, it's going to be interesting here, but that was a very thank you very much moment there for the house driver of Maxwell. It's going to be interesting to see where he is going to be coming out in comparison to Star Orphan. I think Star Orphan might have been a bit slow towards the end of the lap, and he's pit, and he's come out not in the most handy of places. He's come out right behind his teammate. Hopefully, there's a bit of communication on their side that might make it a bit easy for himself, but those hards, it's going to take a while for them to warm up. And yeah, so JPP Gaming, he's attempted the undercut, but he's not got it easy without shadow of doubt trying to make that work.
As it looks like Star Orphan, he is going to let his teammate through, and that might be crucial in this race. So when JPP Gaming can get those, indeed he is, to when he can get those tyres warmed up. Who's that's gone off? That's Steve-O again, who has gone off at the double right-hander. I think he's just about kept it out of the barriers though, crucially. So his race will continue on as Baggy Fan pits for the hards as well in P9 now.
Yeah, I can't help but notice in Steve-O really did give those rears a right old wheel spin, trying to correct his spinning, so I dread to think what's going to... He's taking it cautious. These tyres on these games, when you wheel spin them, they just... Oh, those tyres are just so hot for almost a whole lap. Just spins breeds more spins, I've found with this game.
As well, so far, going back to the front, Maxwell is getting about 3-4 tenths on Smith HB Dan this lap, who now peels into the pit lane. So he is going to pit for the hards, more than likely. Excuse me, but where is Maxwell going to come out and relate to this? I'm not sure what the gap was.
I'm going to say that Smith's going to come out in front, but those tyres are going to take a few corners or a lap to warm in, so Smith's going to come out ahead, but I won't be surprised if come the end of lap 11 that there's only a second separating the two.
A good pit stop from Ferrari, that's a first, and heading down into turn 1 from Maxwell now. How close is he going to be for Smith HB Dan? He's already at the pit lane exit, but as we said, those tyres are going to take an absolute age to warm up on the hards. The gap at the moment is around 3 seconds. How much is that going to close? Going up, Radion. Smith HB Dan is all over the road with those cold hards. I think the gap is going to definitely close here to around 2.5 seconds. Down the Camel straight to go. Maxwell is definitely going to have the better run. He's going to close the gap even more. But JPP Gaming is also closing that gap behind him as well to a second and a half now. So I think it could potentially be a 3-horse race if it stays as it is.
Could well be. Maxwell's in a very good position there with his tyres. Of course, those hards are going to be well and truly in the zone. They will do for at least another 5 or 6 laps. And for Smith HB Dan and JPP Gaming, they've just gradually just gradually warming up to peak performance. JPB Gaming may have already found something to speed up that process. I mean, he's within a second and a half, like you mentioned earlier, and that gap is still closing at the top between first and second. So, Submit HP Dan, he's just got to keep it on the road. He's using a bit more urge to try and help him out there.
Indeed, but the disadvantage for Maxwell there was he's on older hards now, and he has used a little bit more of his ERS trying to close that gap a little bit. If HP Dan, but as we said, JPB Gaming, he is right on the brink of the DRS gap. It's just gone under a second now, so maybe into the detection zone at the bus stop chicane, he might be able to claim DRS. It is right on the point, about 1.1 seconds at the moment. But it's especially Dan already checking back out in front, 2.5 seconds he has got the gap back up to. We'll see if JPB Gaming uses a bit of ERS to try and close that gap. It's going to be very tight to whether he gets it on the main straight. Maxwell goes in a little bit deep. That's going to help JPB Gaming to close the gap. Once again, it's a very poor exit from the Red Bull driver. He doesn't have DRS, but maybe going down the camera straight, if he can stick within that 1 second advantage, he might be able to get it.
Yeah, just losing the rear a bit, coming out of the bus stop chicane. 2-3 temps probably lost from that alone, which is enough to lose you the right to have DRS. Going down the Kemmel straight, going up Weardale, smooth steering, that's what we like to see. You don't want to do a bit of jutted steering, as mentioned earlier, with these cars, these tyres on this track. A bit of urge used there for JPB Gaming, so again he's thinking of the long game. Whether that's because he also knows there's a bit of rain coming and that's going to just tip the whole race on its side. Hopefully it's not going to be that, and we see a penalty for Maxwell, so that's a sign alone that he's been pushing. As the gap is now up to 3.5 seconds, so yeah, Smith has got those hards up to temperature and he's in the zone.
Indeed he is. We said Maxwell pushing hard, a little bit too hard, getting over track limits and getting that 3-second penalty. We saw him pick up a warning, going straight on at Eau Rouge a few laps ago, but JPB Gaming is now well within DRS range of Maxwell and potentially going down the main straight. He will get the DRS to close that gap a little bit more. But saying that, just got a bit of a better exit going out of the chicane and heading into the third sector. It's right on the brink of 1 second again, but he looks to close that gap. As Maxwell, I don't know if he's struggling with warming up the tyres or something, or just keeping it with the temperature, but he's really struggling out there to just keep it in a straight line. As it now close to nearly half a second now, as they about to reach the detection point. JPB Gaming might be all over the back of Maxwell going down the Camel Straight.
Tell you what, I won't be surprised if we see Maxwell actually pit in the next 3 or 4 laps, because normally you can have a bit of an indicator of how worn those tyres are just by looking to see if there's a different a different tone of grading on the tyres. And if you look at like the right or the left side on the outer bit, about the last 40%, there's a different shade to it, which indicates to me that maybe he's about 60 to 65% wear already, which does make a bit of sense because in my race him was about 60% whilst doing about 10 laps on the hard tyres, and of course this is about 11 laps on this set of tyres. JPB Gaming too far away to make a move at the end of his Kemmel Straight, as Richie Chappell's on the bets.
It is for the medium tyres. He's going to come out just ahead of Star Orphan, but Orphan's going to have a lot better exit. They might be going side by side, going to Eau Rouge and Rally on here. Happened quite a bit Thursday night, but it doesn't look like the Red Bull's going to go for it. The medium tyres on that Mercedes are going to be very, very cold, and Star Orphan's going to have the DRS going down the Kemmel Straight and heading towards the chicane. Is he going to be close to go for the move though? It looks like Richie Chappell has rinsed all of his ERS now to try and stay ahead of the Red Bull driver. So I think this battle is going to continue on maybe for the coming laps as well. This battle for P5.
He was looking a bit in the inside of Star Orphan. He was looking a bit. He kept the car on the inside, getting the mirrors of the Mercedes. But give it a few corners, that Mercedes on the medium tyres the tyres will get up to temperature and he'll start pulling away. 11-second gap though to Pazuzu. It could be a bit of a lonely Saturday night drive for the Mercedes driver unless there's a late safety car or any drama for the last 9 laps.
It could be. And JP again, he's lost a bit of time to Maxwell on this lap. It's nearly back to a second again. Maxwell's used about 10% of his battery that lap. But JPP Gaming has just about stayed within DRS range. It's significantly down the race leader. Sets the fastest lap of this race. A 1:48.3 for the Ferrari driver. JPP has got DRS down the main straight, so he can keep the gap to around 7/10 heading down this next straight. Where if he can just stick within DRS range, which shouldn't be too hard, he will get it going down the camera straight once again, rinsing a bit of that ERS to try and close the gap to around half a second. as we go up the hill. Once again, you can see the cars just bottoming out as Max was on straight on again at the top of the hill of Radion. And he might be able to, he might be a bit under threat here from JPP Gaming. Down the camera straight we go. And it looks like it's going to go down the inside for the Red Bull driver. He looks to have got it covered, and that is JPP Gaming up into second place. And that mistake from Maxwell has really costed him now.
I think it was only a matter of time though before JPP Gaming got past. As you can see, like Maxwell didn't really put up a fight. He knows where his race is. He's got a 16.1 second gap to Pazuzu, so a podium is on the cards. So that's going to be his main focus here. I think first and second place is more or less settled unless we get a bit of late drama. So especially, I think Maxwell's got 3 seconds of penalty, so that's going to be on his mind. Also, as there was something else did pop up earlier. I think it was, I don't know if was Baggy Fan got a oh yeah, Baggy Fan's got a penalty.
Yeah, Baggy.
Yeah. Well, that was our closest battle. That's probably going to stretch now. Yeah, I mean, we've only had the one in retirement. That was from a scary crash on lap 1. So far, so good. Still got 10 runners there.
Pazuzu's recovered well from that, to be fair. He's up into P4 now, so scoring 12 championship points at the moment. And his rival is scoring 25. So he's outscoring him by 13 at the moment. So that will go down to a 77 point advantage if it stays like this at the end of the race. But as we said earlier, we have got rain, and Maxwell's into the pit lane, as you predicted, Matt.
Yeah. You mentioned rain. The clouds really are getting darker now. What tyres is Maxwell going to be putting on? I can't imagine the soft tyres because they will overheat and wear very quickly. So it could be medium tyres for Maxwell, where we might see about 8 qualifying times. As oh hello, look at the top of your screen. Smith HP Dan has got a 3-second penalty, and there's been a spin with an Aston Martin. Richie Chapel fastest lap. We're seeing some things start appearing now. If the JPP Gaming can find a few seconds, we've got a race back on.
Indeed we do. Pressure starting to kick in for a few drivers. We've seen penalty for Smith HB down. We've just seen a spin from Baggy Fan in P8. He's now dropped behind Dave in the Mercedes. As we said, just seen Maxwell coming. He is now dropped down to P4. That is just promoted. Championship leader Pazuzu up into the podium positions now. But are we going to maybe see him pit? Because he was on, he was in just as old tyres as Maxwell was. That is 13 lap old hards he is on. Or maybe can he try and extend this to the rain? Those tyres do not look in good nick for the championship leader at the moment.
No, they don't look good, but he's got the pace to still set some good lap times. Maxwell will catch, so a top 4 at the moment is safe for the McLaren. With how he's been in the past few races, retiring in the qualifying to make it interesting for himself in the race, I won't be surprised if he is going to try and hold out for the rain to arrive and chuck on the intermediates. Because again, as we've seen from Hungary last week, when it rains, it really does pour, and within 2 laps, just the track is completely damp. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Pazuzu's doing, just to make his race a bit more interesting. As I feel starting at the back has made his races a tad more boring, as he mentioned in France. But I'm a half-glass empty person. Someone's got to do something to spice it up, or whether Mother Nature's got to do something about it.
I think she definitely does. Lap 16 of 22 in this race now. We've got 6 laps to go. And one man who's actually looking very good for a potential podium, he's probably going to be hoping that Pazuzu maybe does pit, is Richie Chapel, because he's within the penalty window of Maxwell now, and he's nearly within DRS range. Chapel's been showing some decent pace in the last few laps. We've seen that gap close to Maxwell. And again, as I said, be on for a potential podium if things go his way.
Yeah, he's setting good lap times. He's pulled away 6 seconds from Start Orford in only like 3 laps. So be it, he's on the grippier set of tyres, but it's a track with fast corners, so the grip, you could say, isn't going to cause a big difference compared to tracks like Hungary. And Start Orphan isn't the slowest of Division 4 drivers. So yeah, Richie Chapel, without a doubt, you can't rule him out for a podium.
1.4 seconds now is the gap between 4th and 5th of Maxwell and Richie Chapel. If he carries this pace on, he might be able to close within DRS range in the next lap or 2, so we'll make sure to keep an eye on that. Right in front, especially Dan, is a fairly easy afternoon so far, you could say. I don't want to jinx him. He's got a penalty at the moment of 3 seconds, but does have that 6.8 advantage in front of JPP Gaming. He's also showed some decent pace as well, but I think he knows P2 is still another very great result for his championship battle. as we start lap 17 now. Championship leader Pazuzu in P3. So who's that's gone off?
That's Baggy fam.
Ah. Usually gave him some compliments in qualifying, saying he has decent race pace and doesn't spin in the race. What does he do? He has a few spins in the race. That's
Well, Elise hasn't chucked it in the wall yet. He's oh, there's another yellow flag. That's a Red Bull. Is that a Red Bull?
that starts often. He's lost his front wing as well. He got damaged. He's lost half his front wing. The right hand side has gone, and that might maybe give Dave in P7 maybe an extra position now for the Mercedes driver. So that's going to give him a little bit more hope in the race, especially when the rain comes in the final few laps.
I think that the drivers on the hard tyres are beginning to struggle now because Baggy fan spun on the hard tyres, and I watched him go up Eau Rouge about half a minute ago, and he was really lifted. There's no confidence in the Aston Martin driver going up Weardale with those hard tyres, and Staff Orphan, he's actually kept it. He's actually not going into the pits. He's prepared to drive with a broken front wing, which further indicates to me that we are definitely expecting rain.
At the moment, he has got a 12.5-second gap to Dave behind, so maybe he thinks he can hold that advantage until the rain comes and maybe switches to intermediates, then try and fix the front wing then. We did see Steve-O, when he lost his front wing earlier in the race, he stayed out a lap and then came in the following lap. Damage was maybe too bad, but start off, it didn't look too tricky up Eau Rouge in the first sector so far. But we'll maybe see if he does come in, maybe at the end of this lap or next lap. As looks like Pazuzu has now pulled the gap a little bit more to Maxwell now in P3, so 2.6 seconds.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff from Pazuzu. He might not be winning races, but he still flexes his muscles and showing us why he's just been dominating this season. Because those tyres, they don't look like in a good condition. I can't imagine he's going to do another 5 laps on there. So even if the rain doesn't arrive, we'll probably see him on the soft tyres, lighting up the lap time boards and getting the fastest lap time, which probably would actually drop him down to 5th, but it gives him a bit of fun, I guess.
Indeed, that's what it's all about in these races, of course. All about fun. As you had some fun last week picking up P5, didn't you?
Yeah, and the fastest lap, Flex.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to make everyone forget that.
My drive of the day for sure. That was.
Oh,
brilliant drive.
Bless you.
Fortunately, we didn't have any last week. But, oh well. But anyway, back to Division 4 this week, as it is still getting very, very dark out there. As Start Off on, he was still decided to stay out, as the gap between him and Dave, I think it was around, what, 16 seconds? Was it 16 or 12 seconds? It is now dropped to about 9.5 seconds going on to this following lap. So you can see how much time he is losing compared to Dave behind. The gap to P3 is closing again now, so Pazuzu is really struggling in those hard tyres because the gap between him and Maxwell is now 1.1 seconds, 1.2 going through No Name. So Maxwell may have DRS going on to the next lap. Are we going to see the championship leader maybe come in this lap for the soft compound tyres? The gamble to try and take these tyres all the way to the end has not worked. Steve-O gets out of the way for the race leader, that's what that yellow flag was for. But the battle for P3 is well and truly on. Between Pazuzu, Maxwell, and Richie Chappell, if he can catch up to this pack.
That is a dramatic fall for Pazuzu. It's only about a lap ago we were saying that he's flexing his muscles and he's showing great pace despite the hard tyres, but he's fallen about 1.5 seconds in about 2 seconds. I know it's a long track, but still. So, yeah, I've got no doubt Pazuzu is definitely going to be pitting. There's no doubt those tyres ain't going to last a few more laps, as the gap is now down to within 1 second.
He's going to have DRS on the main straight. Is Maxwell. Pazuzu stays out for another lap. Steve-O has came in for new tyres to get off those mediums and a new front wing as well, so he maybe picks up damage with that off. But Maxwell is going to have DRS once again, going down the Camel Straight. But what is the gap going to be heading on to that Camel Straight? Pazuzu using a bit of that 20% DRS he has got. Maxwell around 30% remaining. 0.8 is the gap as they head up the hill. Yellow flags again. That is Baggy who's gone off and he's really got no confidence on those hard compound tyres at all today.
No,
here we go. P3. Ooh. This is Maxwell. He's going to go down the inside. This might be it. He just about gets his way through, and Maxwell into the podium positions now provisionally before penalties are applied.
Yeah, that's good racing there from both drivers. Maxwell using those grippier tyres to his full advantage, and Pazuzu really is struggling now. I think as soon as Richie Chapel passes in the next lap, we will see the McLaren driver on the pit.
We're going to have 3 laps to go when we cross the line. Do you think it's getting too late now to think about, even if it does rain, to go into the intermediates? Because obviously we saw in the Cuban last week, it started raining with about 2 laps to go. Jam's advantage really did close, corner by corner. Obviously he was on those very old medium tyres, I think it was. But it started chucking it down instantly and immediately got to the intermediates, but no one went for it. Are we going to see anyone go for it today, though? Obviously, the nature of this circuit, longest circuit on the calendar, would it be worth it?
I think we can. I think it will be worth it. Yeah, I think again, Hungary isn't the longest of tracks. About a 1 minute 15 lap. It's a 1 minute 40 lap here, but of course a lot of straights, a lot longer track. I'd say it would be worth it, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of any rain falling just yet. You'll certainly hear us scream about it when it starts. But Pazuzu is still staying out. 2-3 more laps on the hard tyres. He's going to try and make potentially the impossible possible. But I can't see him keeping fourth in the process. So Richie Chapel on those mediums.
It is raining. It's starting to come down now. And if you're Richie Chapel, Pazuzu, or maybe even JPP Gaming in this situation, I think you've got nothing to lose for pitting, because who's that's gone off? That's Husky Sassu's gone off. He's already struggling with the conditions out there. And I've just seen Steve-O go off at Eau Rouge, so they are struggling already. So, like I said, if you're any of those drivers that just know, maybe even the others, you've got nothing to lose, because you're not going to lose a position while pitting, and maybe you can gain a position from it, as it's really starting to chuck it down already now.
Yeah, it's looking grim. I mean, if your driver's towards, if you're like baggy or below, if I was you, I'd say it's definitely worth pitting. You're quite far away from the drivers ahead of you. In baggy's case, 28 seconds behind, so what have you got to lose? It's going to be the drivers like Pazuzu, Richie Chapel, and maybe you could even say actually Smith HP down, because he's got a 7-second lead, but with the 3-second penalty, it's certainly made it a lot closer. And oh, hello.
Richie Chapel, lovely move down the inside of the chicane. Even with the lesser grip for Pazuzu, Richie Chapel moves himself up to 4th place. And as we said, a podium could be on here for the Mercedes. If he can get within 3 seconds of Maxwell, it definitely could be on, as none of the top 2 have decided to come in. They are going to gamble and stay out and potentially take these tyres all the way to the end of the Grand Prix and hope the range does not intensify at all. Pazuzu is really dropping off now. If it is him, he does need to come in. Steve-O has gone off again at that same corner at the double right-hander, and I think he's just got away with no damage this time round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not hoping Richie Chapel does get third, because that would mean that my podium prediction is absolutely spot on. Pazuzu's in the pits. Now, what are we going to see here? Is he going to chuck on the intermediate tyres? What's Mark with a C said to do?
We'll see, as he is going on to the intermediate tyres. This Pazuzu championship leader is going to gamble. He had nothing to lose on those hards, as Steve-O is in as well. And we'll see if this gamble pays off. We've got just over a lap to go now in this race, and which is going to be the correct tyre to go on? Are we going to see maybe drivers make more mistakes on these tyres? Are we going to see anyone gamble to just try and take the final lap on intermediates? If you're the race leader, Smith HP Dan, you kind of have to stay out, really, because if you pit, you're going to come out behind JPV Gaming, and if it is the wrong call, it could cost him the race victory, because he has got that 3-second penalty applied as well.
Yeah, if you're in first in these situations, you're doomed if you do and doomed if you don't. DRS is disabled. That is normally the first indicator that it's time to put on the intermediates. Smith HP Dan has actually pulled away from JPP Gaming. These drivers for the last lap it's going to be very Spa 2008. Incredibly, I'm watching the gap with Pazuzu as well. That doesn't seem to be going down so far, but without a doubt, it will be from now on. What does Smith HB Dan do, Corey? What's he going to do? He's staying out. This is going to be an interesting last lap as he's about to lap, I believe, Husky.
Indeed, he is. He stays out of the way, as the man who has led the majority of this race, who has led the past 2 races, who wants to make it 3 in a row, has started the final lap of this race. At JPP Gaming, I've just seen, has made an error out of the final corner. Is now dropped to 9.2 seconds. So Smith HB Dan has gone deep at turn 1 as well. And I tell you what, Richie Chapel, he's really starting to close the gap now on Maxwell. He's gained, and as soon as I say that, I've jinxed him around the final corner. He's lost the back end, lost a second, because they gained half a second near enough in the final sector up until that point. And he's just going to be hoping the Scotsman ahead of him makes a mistake, and he knows the podium could be gone. We've got yellow flags, and that is Steve-O, who's gone off again at the exit of Pouon. puddles are starting to form on the track now, so maybe we are going to see drivers aquaplaning off now.
Yeah, they're taking it very easy going up Weardale. I was amazed still to see how much speed Smith and JPB Gaming were actually carrying going up Weardale. I mean, they're just fully in the zone. To be fair, they're probably actually enjoying it, if I'm honest.
It could be. Firstly, Dan is in a very enjoyable position at the moment. P1 with half a lap to go through. P1, you can see how wet it is through there. He's just being so cautious. He's opened the gap to 10.3. JPB Gaming is just cruising through there. He doesn't want to take any risk. He knows he just needs to get to the end, and that's a P2 result for him. Richie Chappell's still 4.6 seconds away from Maxwell. That's the battle for P3. He needs to get within 3 seconds if he wants to get that podium today. He needs to get in his second half in the final sector. But the man who's in the final sector at the moment, who none of the top 4 decide to gamble for the intermediate tyre, they have all stayed out on the drives to try and take it to the end, and they have done so brilliantly. Smith HB Dan has only got a couple of corners to go now to make it 3 race victories in a row and to close the gap to championship leader Pazuzu, who's a little bit down the field today. But Smith HB Dan rounds the final corner here in Spa. Very soggy Spa it is at the end. Crosses the line to win the Belgian Grand Prix and takes 25 points for his championship tally, as JPB Gaming sliding out of the final corner. He will come home to finish P2. But what about the battle for P3? As Richie Chappell sliding through the left-hander. It does look like Maxwell is just about going to hang on to it unless he makes a mistake out of the final corner. No, he's got it all right. And it is going to be Maxwell who holds on to that P3 regardless of the penalty. But Richie Chappell, great drive. He will finish P4 in the end. He should be very happy with that. As championship leader Pazuzu, he will come home to finish P5, and the gap in his championship will close by 15 points to 75.
Yeah, very solid drive from the top 3 there. It's always nice to see Maxwell on the podium. I always feel like he's Division 4's answer to Fernando Alonso, where he's just always there. As we have got a last lap spinner.
2.
I think. Oh, we got 2, have we?
Stevo's just gone off, I think, but Baggy has also got off. Puon, he's going to pick up P8 in the end. Is the Aston Martin driver? So that is what, if I remember, 4 points to his championship tally added on.
Yep.
Top 3 in the party.
Yep. So be it. We might not have a full grid, but still, it's collecting the points. I mean, certainly finishing the race on worn-out hard tyres on an intermediate track condition. I mean, kudos to anyone who's able to keep it away from the walls in these situations. Baggy on course to beat his best SLR points tally if he can keep up the bringing it home form as he's been showing of late. I think, do you know what? I think they've actually been enjoying it. I think they've enjoyed doing this. And Baggy, there we go. He's weaving. Whether he can do it or not, I'm not too sure, but he's having a good time. There we go, and he's done a Corey, but this time he's done it. But instead of Corey, he's done it after the finish line.
Whoops.
Oh,
so yes, Baggy
sorry.
comes out to finish P8. Yeah, you got the point for that, so you should be happy. Pazuzu gets driver of the day in the game. Speaking of that, boys, who are we going to give driver of the day to today? Liam gone sleep.
Who am I going to give it to? No, I don't know. Let's give it to Liam to decide.
Yeah, go on, Liam.
We'll give it to the race winner.
There we have it.
Okay. FHP Dan is your driver of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Interviews, boys. How are we going to do interviews then?
Oh, you're the boss. I'll follow your lead.
Oh, God. Liam, you're getting involved. You can do P3.
Oh, cool.
Matt, you can do the race winner. I'll do JPP Gaming in P2.
Yep, sounds good to me.
We'll start with.
Okay, come on then.
We'll start with Maxwell then, if he's got his mic ticked so the stream can hear him.
I just need to double check if MD here works for Sky Sports, because Maxis don't talk to Sky Sports, remember?
How'd you find that then? Was the conditions hard to handle, the wet coming down in the 2 last laps?
Pretty much was one of the ones where just looking to see what kind of pace Richie had, and I knew it for a fact that, like, One more mistake, and I was going to have obviously my second penalty there, so it was just a case of staying on track. But see, to be honest, like that's probably been one of my better races ever in SLR. Like I absolutely loved that. Bit of ambitious strategy that kind of we made an arse at the start with the used tyres, but no, that was really fun, especially at the end. Like you never know what's going to happen when it gets to that wet conditions. Like all it takes is one wee mistake at Eau Rouge and somebody's gone, and it can change everything.
Yeah. Only one DNF that race, so I think that was from Eau Rouge, wasn't it? The person that crashed out early on.
Actually, no, that was a
Uh,
2-on. That was a scary crash on lap 1 with Pazuzu.
which we can confirm that he is fine. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'll hand you over to Matt for P2.
Yeah, that's fine. JPB Gaming, second place. Congratulations. Not quite the win, like we saw from yourself last season. You certainly shocked me with the pole position, I must admit, because I almost did another deep heat bet about Smith HB Dan being on pole position. But nevertheless, I mean, how was that race from the start? You certainly kept Smith HB Dan honest from the start, but once you got past, the pace didn't seem there. Do you reckon there was a bit more in you, or was there just like a tiny bit of a confidence? There might have been a moment where you just had to ease it off a bit just to bring home the points.
No, I didn't want Smith to get another week at pole, so I thought I'd just ruin that for him. But yeah, no, just get the points in. Looking at the weather, literally every couple of laps, getting an update and trying to get the race done as soon as possible with that rain coming in at the end, which it wasn't too bad all in all. Like just like the last half a lap was a bit dodgy. Just stuck behind Maxwell for a little bit, but I knew when he got that 3 seconds and then he had to pit as well. So he was on a bit of a alternate strategy, Ferrari strategy. But yeah, no, it was good. I'm happy with the points.
Yeah, and I've got to ask, it's not very often we see end of the race finish in the wet like that. It started raining with 2 laps to go. I mean, driving on those worn out hards on an intermediate track. I mean, that looked quite fun actually. I don't know about you. I mean, tell us how hairy were those last few laps?
So, like I said, the last probably the last lap and a half, uh, was a bit hairy. The last half a lap itself was just horrible, taking every corner so slow. But I did see I was 15 seconds ahead of Maxwell. So, or was it Pazuzu? One of the two. But yeah, just taking it nice and easy for the last lap. But yeah, congratulations to Smith on the win, and hopefully I'll get it back next year.
Lovely stuff. Well, congratulations on the P2 as we head over to Corey, where he is going to interview our race winner for the 3rd time in a row and his 6th consecutive podium.
Here we are. Smith HB Dan could be on a late championship charge now. 3rd race victory in a row. Just about kept it together at the end with the rain coming down on the track. Talk us through your race. It's now a 75-point lead between you and Pazuzu, if I remember rightly, at the top of the championship after that weekend. How are you feeling after your 3rd win in a row today?
Yeah, it was good. Solid lap from JPP and quali. Didn't expect that. Start of the race, just trying to me and JPP just sort of working together, getting away from the rest of the field, and then rain came down, and I got big flashbacks from last year. I know it wasn't raining last year, but still made me very nervous. Just skating around on the last lap, but just about held it. Yeah, good points. Happy.
Indeed, good points for you and good points for your championship fight as well. As I said, around 75 points now between you and Pazuzu at the top of the championship. Do you think you're still well and truly in this championship fight with around, I think, 6 races to go? Maybe 7?
Well, yeah. I'm not mathematically out of it, so yeah, why not?
That's what we love to hear. We've got Monza next week after the calendar change now. Is that a good track for you? Do you think you can maybe take a 4th win in a row around there?
Yeah, it's fine. Not one that hate. Hopefully.
So then we will see then if Smith HB Dan can make it a 4th race win in a row. But that's all we've got time for Division 4 tonight. A chaotic ending with the rain coming out right at the end. Some drivers gambling on intermediates. Championship leader finishing down in P5 in the end. And Smith HB Dan closing up the gap at the top. Make sure to join us for tomorrow for the McEwen Division at 7 p.m. Around Spa. I think we've got 16 or 17 drivers signed up for tomorrow. And hopefully some more points for SLR Southerner. We will see. Monday, we've got Division 1 at 7 p.m. as well. I'm not sure if we'll have a stream. We'll see. But from myself and the rest of the three stooges of Matt and Liam, big thanks to everyone who's watching, and good night.